Welcome, Mr. Umesh, in this beautiful afternoon to our channel, Teaching and Learning. Our channel mainly talks about business communication, English language, and IELTS practice. So, in this video, we are going to talk about the pronunciation skills, mainly English fluency, and the basic requirements that the people really wants to speak English, communicate English in a very natural way. They have a dream, but they have some sort of hesitation and they have some sort of confusions. And I know you very well, and your English is very good. So, would you please talk a little bit about yourself and what do you do also these days, and also talk about your English learning journey.
Hello dear friends, namaste, very good afternoon everybody. So those who are listening to me today, I just want to thank you Mr. The producer here, Mr. Chatra, for giving me this opportunity to talk something about our speaking skills, our pronunciation and accent. And let's start. I'm Mr. Umesh Garti Magar, and I'm a full-time English teacher in Morning Star International Boarding School. I've been teaching since 2017, and this is my fifth year teaching in Morning Star. Regarding myself, I am Umesh from Surkhet, Birinagar 7, Itram. And I did my schooling till 8th grade in Surkhet, and then I moved to India, South India, in Tamil Nadu, in Nilgiris, in Uti, and where I got a perfect environment to garner myself, to shape myself, to mold myself in English. And the inspiration for me, the motivation for me to speak in English today is I give a credit to my teachers and my school colleagues and my friends where I spend my time in South India. And I got opportunity to go during the time of national crisis in Nepal. I got opportunity to go to South India. And in the beginning, I was just a novice and I was just a learner, and I didn't even know any words of English. I just used to shake my head, say yes or no whenever the teacher used to ask me the questions, and my friends used to talk to me. And the first thing I developed in learning English is I must be passionate, I must be willing, I must be positive, and I must say myself that I can do it. It's easy. Language is something about we develop out of environment and out of a willingness and out of a desperation for learning English. So as I spent time there in South India in Kotagiri Public School, Nilgiris, the first step that I developed was a listening practice.
Yes.
I used to listen a lot to my teachers. I used to listen all the lectures and classes and my friends, my seniors in my school. And since that school in South India, they don't understand Hindi, and neither they understand Nepali nor they understand Hindi. So I had to survive by English. So I happened to be in that situations where I had to survive by English.
So, Mr. Umesh,
Yeah.
so can we say that at that time it was a kind of challenge, but it became a kind of marvelous opportunity for you
Yes,
to
of
improve your
course,
English?
exactly as you said. It was an opportunity for me. I had to survive by English, and it was a challenging for me. And then I got a real opportunity, a real ground to garner my English, to enhance my English in my school. And so I studied from 9th grade to 12th grade, the 4 years of learning and residing and spending time in my South India, and it helped me a lot to grow. And though it was a Indian kind of environment, Indian English, but I used to listen to the native speakers, and as a result of which, all those native speakers who used to come in my school, I used to keenly listen to them. And that's the reason, and I began to develop a kind of their accent, and I began to mimic. I began to copy, just as a child mimics his mother and mimics his father. I began to mimic them in the beginning. So as I kept mimicking and copying them, and I One day, every day a word, every day a phrase, every day a sentence, every day adjective, a noun, a vocabulary I developed. And as I began to implement it in my day-to-day speaking with my friends, the seniors and teachers, and as a result of which, slowly, gradually, after some time, I began to develop a fluency in my life. So my dear friends, don't think that it's very tough. English is very tough. No, it's not that tough. But it is your determination, your willingness, and the way you expose yourself to the environment. And that's how, as the time rolled by, I began to speak in English. Then slowly and surely, the fluency started coming in my life and my tongue. And I began to develop the accent, and now what I can speak now, you can find a little bit difference from what the usual Nepalese people speak here in Nepal. So I began to develop kind of Native American. Most of my friends nowadays, whenever I happen to visit or meet any British speaking people, and they comment on me and they say, "Brother, your accent is somewhere like American. Why don't you speak British?" And I said, I tune myself to the American speakers. And one of the things is, I just want to give you some clues. And how do we enhance our pronunciation and speaking skills? Just listen it very carefully. These are the tips and life tools for your English learning. Okay?
Wow, that's great.
Coming to this, first speaking, as you all know, there are the parts of learning English, okay, reading, writing, speaking, listening, and all those things are there. But for me, how I cultivated in my life was reading. The first thing is reading. Read the book of interest, like sports, literature, arts, or whatever is the thing or things of your interest, you read that. And coming to the listening is very, very important. You must listen before you speak. Unless you listen, you won't be able to speak. So, listening is very, very important, and careful listening is very, very important. You have to listen to the native speaker. Okay, I just want to give you a nutshell idea. It depends on you, how you shape yourself.
Okay.
Which accent you want to catch and grab and grasp.
Yes.
I would like to say this. You want to grasp Indian accent, or you want to grasp British accent, or American accent, or Australian accent? It all depends on you, your interest. It's the matter of interest. Yeah. So I developed interest to speak in American, so I began to search those speakers in YouTube, video, audio, and then I began to listen to them very, very carefully, and I began to mimic them. I began to write down some of the vocabularies they speak, and I used to refer to the dictionary, and then later on I used to apply the same words in the day-to-day conversation. And the next thing is, if you don't have native speaker speaking environment, and then that time, it's your responsibility to go to the source. Find out those materials.
Right.
Today in the current generation, in this 21st century, we have internet is a powerful tool where you can learn so many things, such as English. Also you can learn. So YouTube is a very, very effective media, the source for us to learn English in these days, in this current generation. So I would say, listen to the native speakers, okay? Or if you like to speak Indian kind of English, if you find difficulty to speak in native speaking, then switch it to the Indian kind of Indian accent or Indian speakers. So I would rather tell this way, it all depends on you. It's a matter of your interest. And you have to listen of very lot in your lives, okay? Then only you will grasp. Just think, just as a child, how does a child mimic his parents, his grandma, his brother, his father and mother? And then later on, slowly he develops that fluency. That is the exact nature of receiving in regard of English learning. Okay, and that's the thing, and I want to add some more tips on that.
Okay.
And knowledge of phonics. You should have a knowledge of phonics at the same time. There are some phonemes in the dictionary. You should know how to read that sounds. You know, in that slash, and then there's a phonemes in dictionaries, Oxford Advanced or the Longman or the Cambridge, and whichever dictionary you follow.
Yes.
Follow the advanced, the trusted, most trusted dictionary where there will be phonemes. So you must know how to pronounce different forms of a, and sh, and many things. Okay, that part of all the phonemes. So you should have a knowledge of phonemes at the same time, so that when you keep in mind that phonemes, the way that we should have to pronounce, and don't leave that rule of pronouncing, then you will catch up the words, you will catch up the pronunciation very quickly. That's the reason you need to have a sound knowledge in phonics. So
yes.
that's the one another thing. And one more thing regarding, I just want to tell you is and just want to give you simplify your learning your desire. Here, if there is no environment of native speaking, then you have to copy and mimic just as a child in the beginning. Later, as you keep mimicking and practicing and pronouncing, the tone will set in your tongue automatically. Okay?
By the way, how long does it take? If I start from today to mimic the native speakers,
yes.
If I love to American pronunciation accent, and I start from today, how long it will take?
I would rather say it depends, it depends on the environment. How
concentrated
you are, and the quicker you will get it. See, if you surround yourself with that environment. For me, when I was in school, it was a 24/7 English environment.
Wow, that's
when we were in dining hall, it was English. When we were in toilet and bathroom, we were in English.
Okay.
When we were in playground, that was in English. That time was in English. Classroom was in English. Chapel was in English. Swimming pool was in English. Basketball ground, all the playground, everywhere it was the full English. So I was concentrated by, I would say this way, I was concentrated and engulfed by English environment, and that's the reason I got it very quickly. So I would tell you, if you're serious, if you're passionate, I think after you expose yourself to the max, I would tell you in a day, you try to speak more maximum time, surround yourself with English materials.
Okay, well.
And then as you keep on listening and practicing and applying those English in your day-to-day conversation, then what happens is, I think after a month, after 6 months or a year or 2 years, I would say after 2 or 3 years or 1 year even, how concentrated you are, it depends on you.
Yes.
How serious you are, how concentrated you are, it depends on you. But I would say after a year, 2 year, 3 years, you will begin to get what you want, or what you want what you want to learn. Okay? This is what I want to say from me, and some clues, some tips in learning the native way of speaking English is you have to watch sports commentators. You have to watch sport commentating. Okay? You watch football and listen to the football commentators or the cricket commentators, and because you will enjoy watching the sports, and at the same time you will have a greater listening, you will develop the greater listening,
and that would be better because they speak a little bit faster also, because the scenario demands to speak fast, and if we practice that way, our maturity of listening goes up.
Yes, you're right. Exactly. And one more thing, the easiest way, every day in this generation you have mobile phone and MP3 or laptop. So what I would tell you is, why don't you download the lyrics of the songs, English songs, listen English songs, download the English lyrics, the song lyrics, and then begin to sing along with that singer, along with that music you sing. Try to sing it, and the more you open your mouth, the more you use your tongue, tongue in speaking, singing, and speaking, and the quicker you get the English listening, speaking power in your life. And that's the way I want to give all these clues for you. If you try to cultivate this habit and all these basics that which I shared today, and definitely one day you will be a very successful speaker in your life, and you will have very high opportunities, and you will fly, and who knows that you may be the one of the best speaker in Nepal and around the world.
Okay, thank you, Umesh.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Umesh, thank you very much for your important time today.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so you have shared your experience. How did you, gain that powerful accent, that very native-like, fluency speaking English to all our audience? And I am also very much happy and impressed from your speaking styles. Many people say that it is not necessary to copy somebody else because there are various types of accent all over the world, and even the British people speak in a different way in comparison to the American, and American speak in a different way in comparison to Australian, and there is Indian English also. So these things actually these things actually plays vital role. But every person wants to make a kind of desire to speak like a native speaker. So here you are living here in Karnali, Nepal. So you achieve your school education and college in Bangalore and over there. So how do you compare the English learning and using scenario in comparison to Karnali to Bangalore?
In terms of education here in Nepal, we are just far behind. We are just lagging behind compared to the India and greater cities in India. And the one thing is, the British colonized India, and as a result of which they had a great opportunity of exposure to English, and they received the English through British in India, and during the time of colonial, and so later on, they developed into their day-to-day practice, and they incorporated into their various departments in fields of development in India. And I would say it's all about the environment. It's all about the environment. When I was in India, so when I was doing my schooling, it was a perfect environment that shaped me, that inspired me, that cultivated me. And I would say in Nepal, the thing is, we don't have the foreign intervention. But India had the foreign intervention for many years by the British and many other East India Company. And because of that also, they are much ahead of us. And when I compare their education, especially in regards of speaking English to Nepal, and what I see is we lack environment.
Okay, good.
Our foreigners, our seniors, our foreigners, even they don't have good English. That's the reason even their foreigners, they didn't have the exposure.
Exactly.
But in this current generation, after the rise of mobile technology and internet technology in Nepal, now we have exposure to the English, and that's the reason nowadays, compared to the past history, when you see
improving.
we are improving a lot. We have a very much resources where we can where the English is influencing us a lot, and where we can learn a lot. In this current generation, in the time of this technology, where technology investment
that's the main thing. And one more thing, in India, many people have different accent, like Indian accent.
Yes.
How difficult or easy living in India and developing a kind of native accent like you have done the American.
Okay.
So do the people actually take it easily, comfortably, or they feel a kind of strange or odd when they listen the different way of speaking?
Okay.
Because you are speaking completely different than the Indian people. I have some of the Indian friends who is speaking in a very different way. You also know about that.
Yeah.
So how difficult or easy to develop a kind of different accent over there, even though it is English.
Yeah.
So how did you make up yourself?
I would say this way. There are two things. One thing is there are some international exposure in India. There are some international schools, some international organizations, and international business entrepreneur and businesses and companies are there in India. And so when people are working in the international schools and international exposed organizations, they have much exposure with the foreign countries.
Okay.
So that's the reason when they're mingling with the international people and other people like Europe or America, that's the reason they're gaining it. They're gaining it. And for me, I would say, schooling time, in my place also, I didn't join the international school, but our school was, and we had lots of students from different parts of the world, from Scotland, from Canada, America, Gulf, and even we had Korean people, and these things we had exposure, and that's the reason. I would say in my classmate I had a Scottish and American also, and that's the reason I also got. And my seniors were also Americans. Some of them were Americans, Indo-Americans, but their accent was American, entirely American. Just for the schooling in the high school, they came to my school where we studied. We studied together, and I would say two things. One is international exposure. One is right from the schooling, they have the exposure to the native speakers. And such in school like international school, there are teachers from Britain, there are teachers from America, and so they are giving the good real exposure to the native speakers, and that's the reason they have developed right from the school time.
Yes, that's the reason you have that accent and pronunciation skills. So one more thing is, even after completing the master degree, or sometimes bachelor degree in major English, people feel very confused or shy or hesitant to speak English. And there is a very beautiful proverb that I have also asked to one of my foreign, friend also. After completing master degree in English, major English, a candidate or a person cannot ask a cup of tea in a restaurant in a natural setting. So what might be the reason? Is our education system not successful to achieve what the course really designed to achieve? Because major English is a part of improving core skills of language and two aspects: vocabularies, grammar, pronunciation. At least a person, after completing his degree, university degree, whatever degree he completes, either bachelor or masters, should be able to communicate properly with the non-native speaker and native speaker. So when the American or British people meet with them, or him or her, they feel shy and hesitant, and they try their best to avoid the situation because they don't have a kind of confidence. So how is it possible? People often say that It's not theoretical, or you need not to refer somebody else.
Yeah.
You can share your experience.
Yeah.
Why I am raising is this is the problem, common problem of Nepali people, and those who are living here in Karnali.
Yeah.
It's the biggest problem for them.
Yes.
And English is the easiest language, it is said.
Yeah.
More systematic and scientific.
Yeah.
Easy to learn.
Yeah.
But why people can't get confidence
Okay.
even after spending 17 years academic course after completing master degree,
Yeah.
and they feel shy and hesitant to communicate in English? What might be the reason? What do you think?
All right. What you said is, like in terms of all the academics and syllabus and
Yes.
curriculum in Nepal, it's fantastic.
Mm.
It's very good. The only thing I would say is no environment, no
Oh.
exposure of
Yeah.
conversation.
Okay.
No exposure, because we are all Nepalese and we are inclined and we tend to speak in Nepali all the time, and we're not surrounded with the native speakers. Even in our colleges, in universities, among the students itself, they are not conversing each other in English. That's the
Okay.
reason I would say not exposure, and they are not. I would say they are serious. They're doing good. They're good at theory. But when it comes in terms of practical, now in speaking, in conversation, they feel hesitant because I would say there is no environment. There should be a group of. This should be like exposure to the native speakers. And those, I would say it's all about the exposure and environment, I would say. There is no environment. People know all aspects of learning, 4 skills and 2 aspects of English, theoretically. But when it comes in terms of practical, they lack the environment. They don't have the day-to-day conversation. We hardly have a time and exposure to speak with the native speakers, and that's the reason we lack. We are just behind in our conversation, or else in other places their writing is good and their theory is good and they have done well in the academics, the percentage is very high, but when it comes to the speaking and conversation, we lack the environment. So for this reason, I would say, in order to enhance our speaking, the schools has to take the very greater role, right from the pre-primary and primary, secondary and lower secondary and high school, and then from there, in the schooling itself, they have to be taught. In the school should have the proper environment, and when they're shaped and governed, they have to practice the knowledge, to practice the English, right from the schooling, they have to have exposure right from the school days. Not they have to learn from the bachelor, but right from the pre-primary to the high school, out of these 12 years or 13 years of spending time in schooling, they have to master speaking and confidence right from the school. Right from the school.
Thank you very much, Umesh. Realizing this fact, and this is the reality, we are also starting our channel, Teaching Learning, to create a kind of platform through which our learner, basically from the the remote areas like Karnali, Nepal, and those people who are also out of the Nepal also will be benefited because this is online. This is available in internet. So how do you suggest us? Because we are trying to get the ideas and experiences from the different people who are speaking very good English, and sometimes I myself is a teacher of the university. I'm also sharing my viewpoints and my experiences, and sometimes we have the real classes of grammars, language skills also. How the learners of our channel, of this video, can be benefited, how they can utilize our channel, what do you think?
Keep watching this channel, and this channel is going to benefit you a lot, my dear friends, those who are aspirants and learners. You will be highly benefited if you keep on watching the updates that this channel puts in the internet, in YouTube. So I would say, this channel has been designed by our professor, our lecturer, Mr. Chatati Milsana. His hard work and his very hard work as he has given his life towards this, creating the channel. And I would say keep listening this, and every tools and tips and tricks and clues that you are being imparted through the channel will ultimately lead you to the destiny that what you are dreaming about. So I would say continue watch the channel and continue follow the instructions and obey it, and follow it in your day-to-day life, and surely and slowly but surely you will grasp the English and speaking English in your life.
Thank you very much, Umesh. Thank you very much.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
And one more thing, today we have our friend Mr. Umesh over here, and he has shared his experience and how did he improve his English, abilities and skills. So I hope many of our audience and viewers also will be able to make their English and to be confident as him, so that they can communicate easily and they feel like they are flying in the sky. Many people often say that English language is the international passport where you need to visa only.
Yeah.
So language is a power.
Yeah.
If you know language, you know politics, you know economics, you know world, and you know international affairs and so many things, even the education and science. So please focus yourself and learn those tricks and tips from Mr. Umesh. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you very much.